Hello, this is Naja Tao, and I've been doing a series of conversation starter questions that are usually philosophical or hypothetical in nature. This question is from teambuilding.com, and it is: would you rather be the hero or the villain? For me, that depends on whether we're talking about in real life or playing a character. In real life, I definitely try not to be the villain. I don't know that I would often make it to hero status, but I do like to just disappear into the ordinary flow of people's lives. I would love to not be memorable in any way. I also like to play the good guy in games like Fable, where you have a choice about doing good or bad things. But that's for the first time that I play the game. I usually like to go back and see what happens if I do things the opposite way. I think there's something about having a choice in video games that makes them feel a little bit more real. But there's still that element of play, that exploration without consequences that you can't afford to pay, were at real life. However, if we're talking about what role I would want to play as an actor, villain all the way. Everything is scripted, zero consequences. And I think there are so many deeply challenging concepts to explore in villainy versus heroism. And it's strange to say that because I think if you were to read biographies of people who have done either great things or terrible things, I would think there would be more interesting things to learn from the biographies of good people versus bad. Um, but I think fiction is different. I think a movie or a play highlights drama. It doesn't really celebrate the hard decision to take your personal time off and use that to feed homeless people uh, at the food bank, or doesn't highlight um, the the growth and the rewards you see from being kind to a child or an animal. Um, and I think it's actually pretty simple to do good in the world. You just kind of have to overcome all of these hormones and all of these chemicals in your body that are urging you to prioritize yourself and the things that make you feel comfortable. It's simple, but it's very hard to do. And it's very hard to do consistently. And I think that the consistency and reliability of making choices to consider others and to prioritize others, even sometimes, is a big part of being good. But consistency is not entertaining. And it's just not as much fun to be the hero, I don't think. I mean, the hero has it all figured out in terms of their morals and values, but the villain is a mess. Um, they don't really understand themselves in many cases, so they're a little bit more of a puzzle. Either that or they're confusing. Their behavior is confusing to normal people, which is, more interesting to figure out. I feel as though playing the hero is something for actors who are already just naturally really charming, maybe easy on the eyes, and that's why audiences like to watch them. People like to watch a villain because their behavior is shocking, chaotic, and unpredictable. And I think it's cathartic to have the opportunity to study these shadow character traits in as much depth as you would have to for a role. A hero can also be complex, but I think it can be a little more stressful, a little more dull, maybe, compared to exploring a villain because you have to pretend that you're better than you are to take on that role. And in real life, that's kind of burdensome. And you should probably figure out why your behavior isn't up to the same standard as the heroes in order to just kind of iron out the parts of you that don't fit with that character. And as I say that, I kind of wonder if my gut feeling about the villain being objectively more fun, about the villain just being more fun for everybody, I wonder if that's not true. And I personally just have a harder time seeing myself as a good person versus a bad person. I have childhood trauma, and kids often internalize that as being bad or being deserving of poor treatment. But yeah, those were some of my questions as I answered the question, would you rather be the hero or the villain? And if you have an answer for yourself, or if you have any comments about anything I've said today, please leave a message in the comments section. Please like or dislike. Please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.